So, Nikki Haley, in an exclusive statement put out to the Washington Examiner, she essentially warned from her prior experience as a United Nations ambassador that the United Nations might give the Taliban a free pass in the coming weeks and months as they have taken over the nation of Afghanistan. She said in a quote, pretty interesting here, the UN should refuse to allow the Taliban to represent Afghanistan. The UN already has a terrible track record when it comes to giving human rights abusers a seat at the table, and this would be a new low. So what she's basically diving into here is the United Nations currently recognizes Afghanistan as a nation, but now that they are essentially under terrorist control, there is some debate over whether or not this country will now still have get to make decisions over things such as human rights. So another good quote from her was, if a group that throws acid on schoolgirls and is known for rape, abduction, and forced marriage is placed on the Commission of the Status of Women, we should have nothing to do with it. It would be yet another disgrace for the UN. Now, we already have countries like Iran and China that are having a very big role in the decision-making at the United Nations. And I think that's extremely important to note because I think the United Nations might actually try and work with the Taliban. We haven't really seen any indication of what they might do, but we have seen comments in alignment with globalists like the White House, Jen Psaki, saying essentially how we're going to negotiate and work with the Taliban. And it's really kind of a big arc of how we went from we don't negotiate with terrorists to the United States and potentially the United Nations quite literally negotiating with terrorists. So my first question for you guys is, what are your initial thoughts on Haley's comments and kind of what do you think the course of action will be from the UN? Will they no longer recognize Afghanistan, or do you think they will end up working with the Taliban?
Well, first off, quickly, I think there is some common ground between the UN and the Taliban soldiers. The Taliban is prone to rape and pillage, and we know from history, UN soldiers have a nasty habit of raping locals when they are deployed. So, they definitely have some stuff in common. I don't know. Could be the making of a lovely relationship.
I mean, looking back at history, that definitely doesn't disqualify you from joining the UN. So I would
Sudan on the Human Rights Council.
Right. But on the U.S. front, it certainly seems like things are headed in this direction. I mean, we have asked the Taliban to help protect our troops and protect our citizens that are at Kabul airport from ISIS. So we're already working with them.
So
the way Psaki's been talking about them, like humanizing them, making them look like they're a group that can be reasoned with. It is crazy right now, and I would not be surprised at all if you start to see some more movement from the U.S.